Hello everyone, welcome to the PowerBI projects course. In this video, we are going to start the COVID-19 data analysis project. COVID-19 dataset analysis is the way through which we would analyze the COVID-19 dataset. The dataset we will be using has a special feature that it is updated daily. So it depends on when you are downloading the dataset, the results will be different. That is why we have chosen this dataset, because it is highly accurate and contains information all over the world. Based upon the different characteristics and the different information pieces that are available in this dataset, we would be creating a Power BI report. Now, for your reference, I have already created one Power BI report, and that is exactly what we are going to create. This is the COVID-19 analysis report based upon the data set that we will be downloading. I have created this fully in Power BI, and it makes use of the very simple visualizations of Power BI. As you can see, we have got area charts, we have got line charts, we have got pie charts, we have got cards and the scatter plots. This is a very simple and an interesting way to showcase the information. The criteria that we have taken primarily is the countries, the continents over here, and the various things that are uploaded or that are analyzed, including the total cases, the new cases, the total deaths, and the factor that influences these things, such as the median age of the people of that particular country. So this is the kind of the report that we would be creating in Power BI. So let's start with the process. Hello everyone, welcome to the first Power BI project in this Power BI projects course. The first project, as we already have discussed in the introduction video, is the COVID-19 dataset analysis. We know that it is related to the COVID-19. We have got data about the different countries, the total cases, the new cases that are reported daily, the deaths, and many other information present with us. So we would be analyzing those things in this project. First of all, let us import the dataset. So importing a dataset in Power BI is fairly easy. What we can do is, firstly, we have to know that what is the type of the data set that is available to us. Okay, so if you want, you can go to this get data option and go to more. Now when you select this more option, you will get a list of the data sources that are supported by Power BI, which is a huge amount of data sources. That means any of the data source that you want, you can directly import the data from that data source, right? So I would be using a very simple Excel workbook. So just select that option and click on connect. Now this will open the folder. You have to select the path, and this is my data set. Click on open. Now you need to wait for a few seconds while Power BI connects to that particular data source. This may take up a few minutes. So once it's done, you will see this kind of a navigator option and the sheets that are available. You can just select the sheet and the preview would be available. This preview would give you a few rows, like 10 to 15 rows, and all the columns that are available in your data set, like this. Now what we want is, we can just work on this data. So what do we have here is, we can just click on this sheet 1 over here, and we can just see that this data set is unclean because there are these null values present, which we don't want in our data set, right? So we would be transforming this data. So let's just click on this transform data option. Now what will this do? It will open a Power Query editor. This Power Query editor helps us to just make changes into the data set. Like the original data set would not change, but whatever we are getting would be changed, right? So here we have these different columns. First of all, what we're going to do is we are going to drop some columns, right? Like we don't want any of those all the columns that are present here. We just want few columns. So what columns we want? We want the name of the country, that is the location column. We want the date. So whatever columns we want, I'm just going to select those columns. You can just control click to select them. We want total cases and new cases as well. Then we want the column that is the total deaths. Then we want these are these different factors, but most of the values are null, so we cannot use those because they might askew the results a little bit. So we are right now looking at the values that are less, that have more meaningful values and less null values, right? Like we can get this median age, and we can get this. Yeah, I think that would be sufficient. So what we can do is go to this option and select remove other columns, right? So we have got these 6 columns, that is the location, date, total cases, new cases, total deaths, and median age. But as you can see, I applied this operation of removing the columns. So we have got this option written over here as removed other columns, right? But this is a step that we have done. If we want to undo this step, how can we do that? Just click on this cross sign, and all these information or all this things that you did would be undone. Okay, so let me just quickly select these columns once again, and then we would proceed. I'm also selecting this continents column. Okay, so now I have got these 7 columns. As you can see, the continent, location, date, total cases, new cases, total deaths, and median age. Now the thing is, if you just go to this location, here we have these different kinds of locations that are available, but the information about the date, that is kind of like too much of data is present over here. Like we have got the dates from 24th February 2020 all the way till yesterday. So there are a humongous amount of records, right? And what kind of data we have is like if one case was reported in Afghanistan on 24th of February, so that record is present. For few days no new cases were reported, that is why the total cases record remains the same. But on 3rd March a new case was reported, that is why a new case has got 1 and total cases has got 2. So there is a huge amount of data that is present. We are not going to work with this data right now. What we are going to do is we are going to filter this data so that we get data from the countries. Like we don't want to work with the individual data sets, but we want to work with the combined data sets of different countries. So what we are going to do is we are going to apply a filter on the date, right? We can just sort it into the descending order first to get the latest date. This latest date could be anything as per your time that you have downloaded this data set, because this data set is updated daily. So once you have done that, you can just uncheck all and select the latest data set date, that is 20th July, and click on OK. Now what we would be getting is only the total cases column that is reported on 20th July. That is the total cases that have been reported till 20th July and the new cases that were reported there. Okay, so this is a far more insightful data that we would be working for. Now we can just remove this date column because we don't need it, but we have to keep it because that is the criteria on which the filter is applied. So in this case, what we can do is we can hide it as well, but that is just totally your choice. If you want to hide it, you can hide it, otherwise you can just keep it as it is. Okay, now what we can do is just remove the sorting, just sort it in ascending order, or basically sort it on the basis of cases, or any kind of a sorting you can do. Now one interesting thing that you might have noticed is the presence of few null values in this continents option, right? Like North America, Oceania, etc. So what we are going to do is we have to just remove this null, or just select all and remove this null from here, because these are the few stray values. Like we are getting the combination of the values. Like for North America, we are getting the combined values of all the countries of North America. So North America is itself a continent, that's why it is not assigned a continent, so the value is null. So we are just removing those values to get just the data of the countries. Why we have done this step? It is because we want to work with this kind of data. Now here also in new cases, total cases and total deaths also, we are getting few null values. What we can do is simply just remove them, because we don't want to work with the countries who are not giving us any single case. We just want to analyze the data of the countries which are giving some cases or some deaths related to COVID, right? So let's just wait for a few seconds, and yeah, that's removed. That's perfect. Okay, like here we can get the total deaths as null, so let's just remove that also. And the median age as well, we can remove the null values, so as to make the data set much more interesting to work with. Yeah, null values are present here as well, so let's just remove these null values. This is the data cleaning part. We have just cleaned the data set from the unclean one that was filled with unnecessary data and null values to a clean data set that is useful for us. Now one thing more that you need to do is you can just change the name of these columns. Like we can provide better names or meaningful names, like continent with a capital C. Instead of location, we can provide like country. We can just keep the data as same, but just keep it a capital. The reason why we are doing this is because when we need to create the visualizations, then these column names would be taken by default. So we don't want these unnecessary underscores and anything else to be present. We want standard names to be shown on the visualizations, because they are something that would ultimately go into our reports, right? That is why instead of doing that changes over there multiple times, we have done the changes over here only, and that would save us some precious time while creating the reports, right? Now once you have done all these changes, what you can do is change the name of the sheet. Like I'm changing it to COVID final, because this is my final sheet, and here are all these steps that you can see that you have applied over this data set. Once you're satisfied with all these changes, you can go to this option that is close and apply. What will it do? It will just close your Power Query editor and apply the changes into the dataset. Now the changed dataset would be loaded into your Power BI desktop. As you can see, COVID final is being loaded. So you need to wait for a few seconds till this loading is done. After the loading is done, we can start by creating our reports. So what we will do is, first of all, we would be creating a simple visualization, and then we would move on to the reports creation. So let's just wait for a few seconds. Okay, so now the connection has been established, the data is loaded, and you can see this is the COVID final data that has been created. Now we will see how can we work with this data set to create visualizations and then eventually the reports in Power BI. Hello everyone, welcome to the second video of the COVID-19 dataset analysis project in Power BI. In the first video, we saw that how can we import the dataset which was unclean and contained raw data. Then using the Power Query editor, we cleaned the dataset, we removed the unnecessary and the blank data from our dataset. Now we have imported it into the Power BI desktop, and now we will see how can we create visualizations from the different fields that are available to us. So the first thing that we will see in this video is how to create a simple visualization in Power BI using the different fields of the dataset. So a very simple project or a very simple visualization in this project will be the area chart that we would be creating. Okay, so if you remember from the introduction video, the area chart was present on the bottom left corner. This is what we will create. So this is the visualizations pane. Here is the area chart. Let me just click on it and we would get this area chart. Okay, now what we will do is we will go into the focus mode. This will help us to focus on the chart as a whole and not on any other things that are available. So this is this whole chart, this whole visualizations blueprint that is available. Now what we need to do is just drag and drop the values. So this area chart will show us the total cases by country. So that means we have two values, this country value and the total cases value that we would be using, right? So first of all, let's just get this country value and get it into the access part. Then we get this total cases value and get it into the values part. Now we need to wait for a few seconds till this chart is generated. Now the thing is, total cases, as we know, is a numerical value. That is why we have dragged it into the values field. That is a really simple example. Okay. Now the thing is that there are a huge number of countries that are given to us. If we just go to this back to report option, then this is the kind of a chart that we are getting, right? If we just change its dimensions, so we are getting this kind of a scrolling bar. So no one wants this kind of a scrolling bar, right? Because it is not looking very good. So what we will be doing is, instead of getting the total cases of all the countries, we would be applying a filtering criteria. And this filtering criteria will ensure the top n countries, like top 10 countries or top 5 countries. That totally depends on you or the requirements of the report. Since in our case we have no strict requirements for the report, so we would be going with top 10 countries, right? So let's see how do we apply these filters. We have this filters pane available, which we will be using for this purpose. So here firstly we have to select the data or the parameter on which we want to apply the filter. We want top 10 countries. That means the filter is on the country. So we need to expand this. Here is the filtering type. So what type of filtering we will be selecting is the top n filtering. Now this top n can also be used for the bottom n, like you can just select this top or bottom from here, but I would be selecting the top 10 countries. So we can just write 10. Now by what value you want the top 10 countries? So I want the top 10 countries which is giving me the most number of cases, the total cases. So what we do now is just drag this total cases into this field and then click on apply filter. As soon as we do that, you see the chart has changed. You can again go to the focus mode to see that now only 10 countries are there, starting from United States all the way to Italy. Now, if you want to make some changes into the way this visualization looks, how can you do that? Here we have this format option where you can just make some changes. Like if you remember in the cleaning video, that was the first video, we changed the name of all the columns. So country was with a capital C, total cases we removed the underscores and all the likes of the data. So this is why we did it. Right now you can see total cases and country being shown in a presentable format. Otherwise we would be getting total underscore cases, which would not look that much good, right? So that's why we did it there, so that we don't have to repeatedly do it for the different visualizations here. Now the thing we would be working with is the title. Like we are getting this title, this distorted title right now, but if we just go back to the report, the title is correct, total cases by country, which is very good, but we want to change its formatting. Like we want to align it to the center and increase its size a little bit to 16 points so that it becomes more presentable, it is better looking. Okay, next what we can do is we can do all the kind of the changes, like we can apply the data labels as well. Now what will this data labels do? It will give us the exact number of cases that are present in each country. Again, if we just go to the focus mode, you see for United States we have 34.2 million, for India we have 31.2 million, and so on. So this is the kind of information that is shown by the data labels. The blue color is the default color. If you are not satisfied with this color, you can change that as well. you have to go to this data colors option, and there is this whole color palette that you can choose from. So let me just choose this shade of red or pink, whatever shade you want, you can just choose that. Okay, then we can just select back to report, and now according to the report we can resize it. Okay, if during resizing this visualization, if at any point you feel like the data is not readable, what you can do is change its size. How can you do that? For that you need to go to this view option. Here is this themes palette, expand it and go to customize current theme. Now this will allow you to customize the way your current theme looks, like changing the way the text looks and many other things, the basic colors, everything. So what we need to do is work with the text. So go to the text, make sure you are in the general tab and increase its size to maybe a 12 points and click on apply. Now as soon as you do that, you see that the text size has increased a little bit. Now it is much more readable. So these are the kind of the changes that you can do, and these changes needs to be done in each and every visualization depending on how you are presenting it, right? So I have discussed about these changes once. We won't be discussing it again because the steps are similar. So I hope you all would be able to reciprocate them on yourself. What we would be doing is seeing how different visualizations are created, right? So this is one visualization that we have created. Now what happens if we want to create another visualization, right? Let me just grab this kind of a pie chart, because the second is the pie chart visualization that I want to create. Right now I'm not worrying about the space because I'm not just organizing that in the form of a report. I'm just creating different visualizations. We will focus on the reports part later on in the later videos. Okay, so now we have a pie chart, and what information we can show in the pie chart is we have the continent wise data, like the total deaths by continent and the new cases by continent. So what we can do is just drag this continent field into the legend. Instead of the axis, we have the legend thing in the pie chart, and whatever you drag into the legend, this would be shown over here. Okay, and then suppose you want total deaths, so you can just drag it into the values. So this is the total deaths shown by each and every continent. Like in Europe, this was the total number of deaths and what percentage of the deaths it contributed in the whole world. So 27% of the total deaths were in Europe, the 25% of the total deaths were in South America, and so on. This is the percentage distribution that we are getting. That is exactly what pie chart is used for. In case you want to make some changes, what you can do is, again, you can go to the format tab. I don't want these detail labels to be shown, so I'm just turning them as off. Now what we have is just the percentage distribution in the form of a visual. If you want to know about them, you can just hover over it and you would be getting the details. Let me just change the title to a center alignment, total deaths by continent, and increase its size a little bit so that it is better visible, right? And if you want to just change the place of any of the visualizations, you can just use these three dots. If you see, these are these three dots, and then you can also resize them as per your wish. So just like this pie chart, I want to create another pie chart. This pie chart will show me the number of the new cases by continent. That is, right now on the latest day of our data set, what was the continent that contributed to the most number of cases in the world. So let me just create another pie chart, and here I'm going to get continent and I'm going to get the new cases in the values field, right? Let me just turn this detail labels off, but that's totally your choice. Now what I'm going to do is, in this specific pie chart, I'm also going to turn off this legend. Why I'm doing this? Because if you see, the colors of both of these pie charts are default and they are same. So what I can do is I can combine these two pie charts together and only one legend will work for both of them. So this is a space saving solution which will allow us to accommodate some more visualizations into our report, right? So what we can do is just go to this legend option and turn it off from here. As far as the title is concerned, let me again align it to the center and increase its size to around 16 points. Okay, again we can just resize it and put it over here, but there is one constraint. We have to just put these two pie charts together, right? Because we are sharing a common legend between them. That is why we need to just make sure that wherever they are, they should be together. So we can just put them something like this, right? That's it. So this is how we have created 3 visualizations so far, and there are also a number of visualizations that are left to be created, but that we will see in the next videos. This is all for this video. Thanks for watching. Welcome to the COVID-19 dataset analysis tutorials video. This is the 3rd video of the series. In the previous 2 videos, we have already seen that how can we import the dataset, how can we clean it, remove the unnecessary data and the null values. Then we have seen that how can we create simple visualizations like these 3 that will be included in our reports. Now, what we will be seeing today or in this particular video will be the visualizations that are a one step ahead. That means the visualizations which are not as simple as this, but the visualizations that would be present in our report, but they are created with a story behind them. So let's see how do we create that kind of visualizations. So from here, this plus icon, I can create a new page. Now what is the purpose of creating this new page? The purpose is really very simple. That is, we want the different types of visualizations to be created in different places, like the simple visualizations in page 1, the complex visualizations or one step ahead visualizations in another page, just so that we are able to understand them in a better way. So the first thing that we are going to do is create an area chart like this. Let's get it into the focus mode so that we are able to analyze it properly. Now the area chart that we are going to create is going to be the continent and the total cases by the continent. Okay, so this is something that we are getting over here, that is the total cases by continent. If we just go to this data labels option and turn it on, so we say that Asia is the continent that is giving us the most number of cases, that is around 59 million cases. Europe is giving us 50 million. North America is on the 3rd number with 41 million cases, right? And South America is on 4th number with 35 million, and so on, with Africa with 6 million cases, and so on. So this is one of the area chart we got over here. If we just go back to this original dimensions, here on the page 1 we created a similar kind of an area chart in which we got the total cases by country. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to copy this chart. How do you copy any visualization? Just click on this, make sure this kind of a frame is visible, press Ctrl C from your keyboard, go to the other page or wherever you want to paste this particular chart. Let me just decrease its size a little bit so as to accommodate both the charts, and just press Ctrl V to paste it. Now it would be pasted in the same position, but of course you can just drag it into wherever you want. Now if we just compare these two charts, what do we get? The country that is giving us the most number of total cases is United States, giving us 34 million cases. And we know from our knowledge of geography that United States is present in the North American continent. So what happens is, although Asia is the continent that is giving us the most number of cases, but in the case of the country, the scenario is totally different. Out of the all of the cases in North America, that is 41 million, 34 million are only contributed by United States. Similarly, for India, 31 million is the total number of cases reported by the country. However, Asia reports 59 million cases. That means a huge amount of the cases are contributed by India itself. That is, more than 50% of the cases of Asia come from India. So this is the kind of insights that we get from the data, right? So what we will do is we will try to look for factors which allow these all things to happen. Like we are getting that, okay, in Asia most of the cases come from India. In North America, most of the cases come from United States. Similarly, we have South America, where 35 million is the total number of cases, and a large chunk of it is, that is 19 million cases, are from Brazil itself. So what we will do is, we will do a country analysis of each continent and try to find out the factors which may be responsible for this particular scenario, right? So what do we do in this case? Let me just get rid of these two charts because we don't need them anymore. You can just click on the chart and press the delete key. They would be removed. This I am keeping right now, but that chart, country chart, I have removed. Okay. So what I'm going to do is, I'm just going to get a line chart, but we won't be using a line chart. We are going to create something different out of this line chart. Okay, so what we would be discovering, let's just see. We have this factor called as median age that is present in our data set. The reason we keep this factor is because we have heard different reports that the coronavirus or this COVID infection is more prevalent in the older age people or in the middle age people, right? And the third wave is speculated to hit the children hard. So that is why we have taken this age as a factor and try to analyze that whether age has any factor, or if age has any influence over the number of cases. So what we will do is, we will get the analysis of the continent. So let's just get the continent into the axis and this median age into the values field. But we are not only concerned about the age of the continent, median ages of the particular continent, but we are interested in the country wise age. So let's just get this country part into the legends. As soon as we do that, we will get something like this. Let me just go to here and turn off this legend, because it's was getting a little bit messy, and let's just get into the focus mode. So this is the focus mode. Here we are getting the different countries. Like in Asia, we had India on number 1. So if you want, you can just search for that particular country and you will get the information. Or what you can do is, you can go to the filters option and apply a basic filtering on the country like India. Let's just search for India. So yeah, that's applied, and you would be able to see its median age, that is 28.2. So that is the age of the people that are most infected by this COVID disease in India. Similarly, let's just search for the top 10 countries. Okay, let's just search for United States of America. So we have United Kingdom. Let's get United States of America. Let's get Brazil into the mix as well, and let's just go back to the report and search for what countries we had in the top 10. Okay, so we had France, Russia, Turkey. We can apply all these countries and try to analyze them. Okay, so France, Russia, and Turkey. Okay, we can also get Argentina, Colombia, and Italy. So let's just rope them in as well. So it's going to be Argentina, Colombia, I don't think we have Colombia in here. We can get Italy as well. Yeah. So these are the countries that are giving us the top 10 cases, and we are analyzing their median age. Like North America, in North America we have United States, whose median age is around 30 in the late 40s. In the late 30s. That means 38.3. That is the most number of people affected. In Asia, we have seen a similar trend, that is in the late 20s and the early 30s, where the people are most infected. In South America also you can see a similar trend is there, that is in the early 30s. However, in Europe the trend is slightly different. Mostly it is in late 30s and early 40s, but in Italy we have got a different trend, that is in the late 50s the people are being infected. That is 47.9 is the median age. So this is the trend. That means that again tells us a different story, that whatever the climate of the region is, it also plays a vital role in the age of the people that are infected. Like in Asia there is a particular age, in South America there is a particular age, in Europe that's a particular age, and so on. So this was the basic filtering that we applied, and that was a hugely complex thing. If you want, you can just apply the top 10 countries over here as the filtering by the total cases. And if you apply the filter, or let's just say to top 20 countries and apply the filter, so you can see it's far more easy, and it is giving us the far better results, far quicker results for analysis, right? So this is the second visualization, or basically the second type of the visualization that we have created, that have a story behind it, which is going to be used in our report ultimately. So now what we will see is another kind of a visualization just like this, which we would be using in our reports. So now what we are going to do is we are going to take a look at a special type of a visualization, that is a card visualization. Okay, so let me just get in this card. Now what is this card? It can be used to represent the data, right? It's really simple to work with it. It has got just one way through which we can show the data, and that is this fields option. So suppose you want to show the total number of cases, you can just drag it and it will show the total number of cases all over the world. Now this card is connected with these two visualizations, right? Like if I just select this Asia over here in this particular visualization, if I select Asia, so what will happen is Asia would be highlighted over here, only the Asian countries would be shown here, and the total cases of Asia, that is 59 million, is shown here. So that is how the cards are connected, and they are very important in a report because they are used to show the information or communicate the important information very easily. Like right now it is showing the total cases, as you can see this small heading is there, or the small information is there, total cases. Similarly, if we just create another card, let's just create another card, and this time instead of the total cases I'm going to get this total deaths option. So if I get, this is now showing the total deaths of Asian continent, but if I just select somewhere else or unselect this Asian continent, then it will show the total deaths all over the world. Similarly, the important information that is like essential, like the number of new cases, the total cases, and the total deaths, they can easily be communicated with the help of the cards like this. So what we are going to do is we are going to get 3 cards, these two, and the third one is going to be the what we can do is we are going to get the third card, that is going to be of the new cases, because we haven't got it yet. So this is the new cases that were reported in the world on the latest date that you had on your data set, 529,000 cases. Okay, if we just select any continent, like let's just select Europe, so what will happen is the total cases or the total new cases that were reported in that particular continent would be shown to you. Okay, we can just select somewhere else to get rid of that selection, and the total cases would be shown again. Now this all visualizations or all these things that we have created, they are all part of the same data set that we got, right? We removed some columns, we removed some unnecessary data, right? Now what we are going to do is try to combine the similar data set but with a different scenario with these visualizations to create a common report. So what is that, we will see in the next video. Thanks for watching. Hello everyone, welcome to the next video of the COVID-19 dataset analysis project. In the previous few videos, we have already seen how can we create some visualizations out of the dataset which we have cleaned as per our requirements. In this video, we will see how can we create the instances of the same dataset in Power BI and try to use it to create different kinds of the visualizations. Finally, when we are making the reports, we will combine these different visualizations into a single report to better communicate the information to the viewers. So let us start this video. The first thing that we are going to do is work with how to create the instances of the dataset. So the dataset, as we already know, we have linked into our Power BI, that is the COVID data. It is in the Excel workbook format. So whatever dataset you have created, it would be present in this information or in this pane, that is the recent sources pane. So if you just click on it, you see this is the first data set that is available. Now if we just click on it, then what will it do? It will give us the dialog box that will again help us to work on this particular data set, right? So if you just go to this sheet 1, then it will show you all the information that it was showing before, like this. Okay, then you can just select this and click on transform data, because what we are going to do is we are going to create another transformation from this particular data set, which will be used for different purpose other than what we have already seen. If you want to see what you have done already, now we have opened a Power Query editor for ourselves, and again all the different steps that we did before, we can again do it. Okay, so what I'm going to do this time is I'm just going to keep a very few information or whatever information I need for the other visualization, that is the location, the date, the total cases, the new cases, and the total deaths, right? So how is it different from what we have done previously? The thing is that I won't be taking just a single date, but I would be taking all the data. So let's just go with it. Let's just select the columns, right? Location column. These 4 columns I have selected, and now I will select the 5th column, that is the total deaths. Or maybe just we are not going to select this total deaths column. Let's just work with these 4 columns right now. Okay, and rest of the columns we can remove. So let's just select remove other columns. Let's just rename them because we know the reason. Country, and this is going to be the date. This is going to be the total cases with a modified name for a better visualization purposes, and this is going to be the new cases with a better name. So what will the usage of this particular instance of the data is that it would help us to track the progress of the cases, or track the trend of the cases in a particular country, or maybe different countries as well, right? All over, from the time when the first case was reported up to the time whenever you have downloaded your data set. So these are the steps that we have applied. Let's just rename it to trend of cases, trend of daily cases, or trend of cases, anything like this. We can just provide it a name and then close and apply. Now what will this do? It will create another instance of the data. So we need to wait for a few seconds, and you can see these are 2 instances now created, the COVID final instance and the trend of daily cases instance. COVID final instance, we have already been using that, and this is the second instance that is being created. So you gotta wait for a few seconds because it has got a humongous amount of data, a large number of rows. So now if you go to this fields pane, we have 2 fields like this COVID final and this trend of daily cases. In every page you can see now 2 fields are available. This will make sure that no changes is done into the already existing visualizations, but if you want to create new visualizations, you can simply create it using either of these instances. So let's just go with this. We are going to have a line chart to track the progress. Let's get into the focus mode. We are going to get the date into the access field and the total cases. Okay, so the total cases in the values field. Now this is it. This is the whole word data, but we don't want that. What we want is a country-wise distribution. So let's just get the country into the legends part, which is giving us the distorted data. So what I'm going to do is apply a filter on the country. That is, we want the top 10 countries, or basically the top 5 countries by the total cases. Click on apply filter, and these are the top 5 countries that we are getting. However, now what we are getting is the continents as well. Like you can see, Asia, Europe, North America, world. These are the accumulated values that we are getting as well. And also we are getting United States. So that shows another story, that United States cases can be compared with the cases of all the other continents and even the total world cases as well, right? So but this is not something that we need. So in this case, what we can do is go to this filters pane or this filters list, and basically what we can do is we can exclude some of the values. So how do we exclude these values? Let's just take a look at that. So now we can see that I have already applied the changes. So let me explain it to you that how I did that. So the thing is that once you have uploaded or loaded the instance into Power BI, you can transform it anytime you want. All you need to do is go to this home tab, and there is this transform data option. You can just select on that, and this will open the Power Query editor. So once you have opened the Power Query editor, you will see on the left hand side that these are the queries or the instances that are available. Now you need to select whichever one you want to modify. So you can just select this second one, that is the trend of the daily cases, and here I have applied the filter. Like if you just go to this filters option, you can see that there is all these continents that have been removed, like Africa, Asia, Europe, European Union, North America, South America, and the world. All these were the cumulative values that have been removed. Now once I remove all those values, what will happen is that we would be seeing the countries only that we actually want. However, if you don't want countries, you want the data of the continent, then instead of using this location parameter, you can directly use the continents parameter from the dataset. Now you must be wondering that it is only giving us a few countries like Afghanistan and Albania only, and none other countries. So how do you remedy this situation? You can just click on this load more option. So what will it do? It will load the countries data of all the countries from the dataset. So just to save the space and the memory, Power BI first gives us a preview of the dataset instead of the whole dataset. So as you can see, it's taking some time, but it is going to load like this. Now we have a list of all these countries that are available. Okay, then you can click on OK. If you want to remove the filter, you can just click on this clear filter option, but you can click on OK. Now any of the changes that you want, you can directly make it over here. Once you have made those changes, make sure to click on this close and apply button so that those changes are applied onto your given dataset. Now you can wait for a few seconds till these changes have been applied, and in our case the changes have already been applied. Now you can just go to this option, select top 5 countries by the total cases into here, and you will be getting as soon as you click on this apply filter option, the top 5 countries which are giving us the most number of total cases in the whole world in the form of a line chart. If you want, you can just go to this option and make sure that this data labels is turned on. So we would be getting the difference of the cases, like for United States, we are getting this 1.7 billion to 6.1 billion. That's the rise in the number of the cases in the 2 years 2020 to 2021. Now the thing is that we are getting the data in a year wise fashion, right? As you can see, year is written here and total cases is written here. But if we go there, we have got this date option. That means if we want some other kind of data, like suppose we want the quarter wise data, how can we get that? So for this, there is an important concept in Power BI or any of the business intelligence tool, especially using this date features, that is the hierarchy. So what happens in a date? Date is contributed by various factors like day, week, month, quarter, then year, then decade, and so on. So all these information that are present can actually be drilled down or drilled up. What do you mean by drilled down and drilled up? That means right now we are getting the year wise data, but if you want a quarter wise data, how do you do that? How do you get that? You just go to this axis option and remove this year from here. You can see the cross sign, and you can just remove this year. As soon as you do that, you will get a quarter wise data. This is the quarter one data. That means it combines quarter one of the year 2020 and 2021. Quarter 2 combines the quarter of the year 2020 and the quarter 2 of the year 2021, and so on. This is how the data is being depicted. Similarly, if you just remove this quarter field, you would get the data in a monthly fashion, like January. So January is combined of January 2020 data and January 2021 data. February 2020 and February 2021, both the datas are combined. So this is how the information is given to you, just like this. Similarly, if you just remove this month column, the day column would be composed of all. If you want to go to all levels, you can just select this show all levels. So again, the year wise data is shown to you. But if you want the quarter wise data, which is much more interesting to note, you can just get the quarter wise data as well. So that totally depends upon you, or what you can do is just remove it all together and again get it from here into here to get the data like this. Okay, now if we just get into the focus mode, so we can get a better view at how the data is looking to us. These are the countries that we are getting. Now what we are going to do is we are just going to change the data colors of these countries. This is the data colors option through which you can change the data colors of the individual countries. Like we are having United States with the most cases, so I'm going to color it into a dark red, darkest red that I can get to communicate that particular detail, right? And I'm getting the least number of cases in this country, that's France. So let me just color it into the shade of a green. Basically, I'm trying to choose the colors that are much more complementary to the eye, or so that the eye can easily distinguish between them, right? Now we can change the color of Russia to, I think, a yellowish golden kind of a color, so as to make the distinction between the two, or maybe a darker shade like this to get a distinction. Okay, so that means that even if you want, you can just change the individual colors as well of all these visuals to get a better look at them. Further, if you want to go to the next level in the hierarchy, then you can use these options as well, which are present in the visualization. Like if we just select on these double arrows, it will go to quarter, it will go to month, and even it will go to individual days like 0, 5, 10 and so on. If you want to come up in the hierarchy, then what do you do? Let's just take a look at that as well. Is you just remove this date column from here altogether and get it back like this. Okay, so now this visualization is complete. In the next video, we will see how to combine all those visualizations into a report. Hello everyone, welcome to the COVID-19 dataset analysis project. In this video, we are going to look at how can we combine the various visualizations we have been creating in the previous few videos into a form of a Power BI report. But just before that, there is a small thing that I wanted to discuss with you all, that in the previous video we saw this particular kind of visualization in which we visualize the total cases by year and country. Okay, so we saw that the date can be created in the form of a hierarchy, and we understood its concept, right? There is one way of hierarchies. The other way of how you can organize dates is through a combined fashion. How do you do that? You can just click on this down arrow and instead of date hierarchy, just select date from here. When you do that, what will happen in this particular visualization is that it will show us the date in this format, like April 2020, July 2020, October 2020 and so on, which means the month and the year, it is beneficial for you basically it is organized in the form of the quarters itself, so it is easier for you to understand the data and how the changes are occurring in the different countries. Now, as the data labels are looking messy in this kind of a situation, so what I'm going to do is just turn them off. So this is the visualization that we have got. Now let's just combine these all visualizations into the form of a report. We create a new page. The first thing that we need to know is that what kind of a report is this. So for this particular thing, we have to insert a kind of a button, or basically a shape that tells us the purpose of the report. That is really important. So I'm just going to add a simple rounded rectangle shape, and this much is okay. Now whatever you want to change about it, its appearance, anything you want, you can just do it here. Like I want to add some text, so let's just add the text, that is COVID-19 dataset analysis. Okay, let's just change its color to a black and increase its size so that it is readable, and make sure that it is on the center from the vertical and the horizontal alignment as well. Now what we need to do is just copy and paste the visualizations and get the best out of them. So let's just go. First of all, we would be working with these cards. Okay, so let's just select them. You can use control click to select the cards, to select multiple cards at the same time. You need to copy them using control C, come to your page 4 and paste them here. Now what we need to do is arrange them. So let's just quickly arrange them so as to take the minimum space and showing the maximum information. The total cases, the new cases, and the total deaths. Let's just decrease the size as well. Okay, so these three are arranged. Next we want our pie charts. Now there is a special arrangement in the pie charts, that is they should be available in this kind of a format. So for this particular situation, if you want, you can just group them as well so that they stay combined wherever they go. Okay, so I have grouped them. Let's just copy and paste them here, and they are good to go. Now what is the benefit of grouping them is that you can just resize them as well, like this, or if you want, you can ungroup them to make any changes, like this. And I'm just going to increase its size a little bit. Perfect. Now let me get this data of the total cases by country in this particular space. Yeah, and then I had this visualization, which is the median age by continent and country, and paste it here. And last but not the least, I'm going to get the visualization that is created out of a different instance. So this one, that was created out of a different instance of our Power BI data set that we uploaded. So yeah, you can arrange it over here. Now what I'm going to do is quickly work with all of these titles in here. So let's just do that. Now I have changed the titles like median age by continent and country and this particular title into the middle so that it is much more readable. Now this report is complete. What we are going to do is export it in the form of a PDF so that it is easily shareable. So for that we can go to File and Export, go to this Export to PDF option, and Power BI will generate a PDF of your report. Now all these 4 pages that are available, those PDFs would be generated so that you can look at them individually and in the combined format as a report as well. So here is the PDF. This is the first page, this is the second page, the third page, and the final report. So that's all. With this we wrap up the whole project. Thanks for watching.